Good morning to everyone. Welcome to this faculty development program. Let us begin this event with a prayer seeking guidance, wisdom, positivity to ensure a meaningful and successful journey together.
तुषारहारधवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रावृता या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्करप्रभृतिभिः देवैः सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा शुक्लां ब्रह्मविचारसारपरमा आद्यां जगद्व्यापिनीं वीणापुस्तकधारिणीम् अभयदा जाड्यान्धकारापहा
Research is formalized curiosity. It is poking and prying with a purpose. This quote by Zora Neale Hurston perfectly encapsulates the spirit of this faculty development program as we gather to ignite curiosity, embrace multidisciplinary perspectives, and push the boundaries of our understanding in language and literature research. A very good morning to the esteemed guests, participants, colleagues, and researcher scholars. On behalf of the Department of English and Foreign Languages, SRM Institute of Science and Technology, Katankulathur, I, Dr. Poonam, and my co-coordinator, Dr. A. Punguri, welcome you all to a 6-day online faculty development program. This event, aptly titled Envisioning the Future, Multidisciplinary Approaches in Research on Languages and Literatures, promises to be a dynamic forum for learning, collaboration, and innovation. To guide us on this enriching journey, we are privileged to have among us Dr. L. Kavita Nair, the convener of this FDP, the dynamic and multifaceted head of the Department of English and Foreign Languages at SRM Institute of Science and Technology. A dedicated scholar and leader, ma'am has been instrumental in shaping the academic and research environment of the EFL department. Her commitment to fostering innovation and interdisciplinary research is evident through her contribution to the fields of English language studies, literature, and cultural research. Under her leadership, the department has excelled in both academic pursuits and co-curricular activities, equipping students with critical communication skills and cultural understanding necessary for global competitiveness. Her research interests span diverse areas including mythology, diaspora studies, and pedagogy, which enrich the department's intellectual rigor. Ma'am's vision and unwavering dedication have not only advanced the department's stature, but also cultivated a nurturing environment for faculty and students to thrive. Her ability to inspire collaboration and her passion for education highlight her as a cornerstone of SRMIST's mission to lead in multidisciplinary learning and research. Let us warmly welcome Dr. L. Kavita Nair and invite her to deliver the welcome address as we set the stage for this transformative program.
Thank you, Dr. Poonam and Dr. Punguri. A very good morning, everyone. It's my privilege and honor to welcome you all to our almost sought after yearly 6-day faculty development program organized by the Department of English and Foreign Languages, SRMIST Katanglatur campus. This time it's being conducted virtually, and the title is Envisioning the Future, Multidisciplinary Approaches in Research on Languages and Literatures from December 2nd to 7th. SRM has always been a pioneer in fostering excellence in education, research, and innovation. As one of the leading institutions in the country, our aim towards commitment to holistic development and global academic standards is reflected in every endeavor that we undertake. Our management deserves heartfelt gratitude for its visionary leadership and unwavering support, which has made this FDP a reality too. Now, the Department of English and Foreign Languages has an important role in SRM's academic excellence. It has been steadfast in its mission to inspire critical thinking and also inclusivity. Guided by our vision to prepare students and researchers for a globalized world while preserving the richness of linguistic and literary traditions, we have consistently aimed to discover, discuss, and disseminate the knowledge. Our department's motto and the guiding principle of the EFL conclave: discuss, disseminate, discover, and disseminate. Now, this FDP seamlessly aligns with our mission as it aims to explore innovative, multidisciplinary approaches to research in languages and literatures, thereby pushing the boundaries of conventional thoughts. And we are privileged to host 12 esteemed speakers from diverse fields who will engage and inspire us over the next 6 days. Their expertise and insights will illuminate the intersection of language, literature, and various disciplines, offering new dimensions to our understanding, especially field of digital humanities, environment literature, linguistics, literature studies, cultural studies, gender literature, global literatures, interdisciplinary, and it just goes on. So I invite you to, get drown yourselves into these 6 days for exceptional knowledge on these in these fields. Now, these distinguished speakers bring with them a wealth of knowledge that reflects truly multidisciplinary ethos of this FDP. Now, to our participants, you form the heart of this program. Your enthusiasm and curiosity to learn, to share, and to grow inspires us to curate platforms like these. So let this FDP be a journey of intellectual discovery where you not only absorb knowledge, but also actively contribute to it through discussions and collaborations. So as we embark on this journey, let us remain aligned with the department's vision and mission of fostering academic excellence and social relevance. By the end of this FDP, I hope we emerge not only with enriched minds, but also with a renewed commitment to making impactful collaborations and contributions to our disciplines. So with these words, I once again extend a hearty welcome to Honorable our Dean, Sir, to all the faculty members, to the research scholars, and all the participants across universities and states. I extend a very warm welcome to all. Let's make these 6 days a celebration of knowledge, collaboration, and growth. Thank you, and best wishes for a fruitful engagement during these 6 days of the FDP. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your inspiring welcome address. Your vision has truly set the stage for a meaningful and enriching event, emphasizing the importance of multidisciplinary research in today's interconnected academic landscape. Building on this foundation, allow me to brief about the faculty development program. The session planned for this FDP will delve into innovative methodologies and interdisciplinary approaches, creating a platform for educators and researchers to bridge the gap between theory and practice. As we proceed, let us embrace this opportunity to explore new perspectives and foster collaboration across diverse academic fields. Through a series of expert-led sessions, the FDP explores themes such as medical humanities, cultural studies, digital transformation, and legal scholarship. showcasing the rich interconnectedness of humanities and social sciences. The program incorporates advanced tools like text mining, data visualization, and interdisciplinary perspectives from fields such as anthropology and psychology, encouraging participants to rethink traditional research paradigms. The event offers a platform for educators and researchers to exchange ideas, engage in collaborative discussions, and enhance the pedagogical practices. With esteemed speakers from prestigious institutions, this FDP exemplifies SRMIST's commitment to academic excellence and innovation. Participants will gain insights into contemporary research methodologies and applications, making this FDP a valuable experience for fostering global academic networks and advancing the future of multidisciplinary studies in languages and literatures. Over the next 6 days, we will explore new methodologies, engage in thought provoking discussions, and build a network of educators and researchers united by a shared vision for the future of language studies. Let us embark on this journey together, striving to enrich our understanding and contribute meaningfully to the evolving world of academic. To transition into the next segment of our program, I now invite Dr. A. Punguri to introduce Dr. John Tiruvadigal sir, who will deliver the inaugural address.
Good morning, everyone. It is with great pride and privilege that I introduce our distinguished chief guest, an academic leader and a visionary, professor and dean, School of Basic Sciences at SRMIST. Sir is a luminary in the fields of material science, nanotechnology, and photonics. His groundbreaking research has not only advanced scientific understanding, but also provided real-world applications, particularly in developing innovative materials and sustainable solutions. Under his leadership, the School of Basic Sciences has excelled in fostering interdisciplinary research and integrating fundamental sciences with cutting-edge technological applications. With an illustrious academic career spanning almost 3 decades, Sir has been a mentor to numerous scholars and students, guiding them to excel in their scientific endeavors. Sir is celebrated for his dynamic leadership and ability to cultivate collaborations across academic and industrial platforms globally. His strategic vision has driven the growth of basic sciences at SRMIST, enhancing its reputation as a hub for innovation and learning. I now invite Sir to deliver the inaugural address.
Yes, thank you, madam, for a very nice introduction. So just let me take a few minutes. I'll share my slide. Is it visible? Yes.
Yes, sir, it's visible, sir. It's visible.
Okay, good. So dear friends, let me take a few minutes because already we're late now. I am very privileged and happy to be here in your midst to share a few words on the topic of this FDP theme. Before, just let me share 2-3 slides on the topic or the theme or the thematic. Let me take 2 minutes to tell something about university, because as this is an inter-college. Is it correct, madam? So how many are from outside, Sarah?
There are almost 60 participants outside, sir, from SR. Altogether, almost 100 participants and almost 60 people are from outside the college.
Okay, so thank you, madam. So good. So just to have a glimpse on SRM so that others will also have some idea about the institute. Now, this institute SRM Science and Technology with around 52,000 students in this campus, Katamlathu, and around 3,000 plus faculty members and 500 plus corporate relationships and 160 plus academic MOUs. And we have more than 70 plus UG programs, 130 PG programs, 30 plus PhD disciplines, and 70 plus departments, 18 plus schools, and 70 plus centers of excellence. Now the institute is being graded under category 1 with a 12B status by UGC, Minister of Education. It is currently accredited with the highest grade A++ by NAC. Let me take half a minute on this point. Now, this is one of the very prestigious universities across India. It's got this highest grade for 7 years because this A++ grade that was given by NAC during the 4th cycle of accreditation is valid until 2031. And NRF 2024 ranking, SRMAC is at 12th position. And it's globally ranked by Shanghai QS and the Times Higher Education Rankings. Of course, this data may not be impressive or you may not appreciate, but I should project this slide because this is a data as on date. The current H index of the institute is 156. What I mean, 156 papers have minimum 156 citations. Now the university or the institute H index from the Scopus database is 156 and a Web of Science it is 136. And I-10 index it is 7490. Meaning minimum 10 papers with more than 10 citations. And here the number is 7490. And the total citations, it's more than 30,000, 31,000. Out of patents, 877 published. And there are 439 Indian patents granted. And 15 patents, foreign patents granted. Now the Nature Index 2023 service placed SRM second among the private universities in India and overall, meaning including all government XYZ. Private universities is second. And 2024 Stanford University survey says that 36 faculty members or 36 scientists working in SRM, Institute of Science and Technology, are in the top 2 percentile of most cited scientists of the globe. In recognition of SRM potential, annually 22 crores of rupees being granted by different government agencies and 1.4 per annum for consultants. And we have 28 plus startups. These are few notable research outcomes of SRM satellite. Still it is orbiting. And SRM autonomous underwater vehicle, SRM search, light transmitting. Now these are the very remarkable, I can say, the scientific outcomes or the contribution made by SRM to the society. Okay, now let me come to my point here, today's agenda point. Because this is a faculty FDP, a development program for the faculty members. So now let me just take you another 4 or 5 slides about the thematic area. For any institute to become as epicenter of education, now these are the 4 pillars. The first pillar is academic excellence. And second pillar is research excellence. And third pillar is talent recruitment. And fourth is the collaborations. Now these are the 4 pillars for any institute striving to be the best. Or the 4 demands, or the 4, I can say the critical conditions requirements, demands for any institute, for any higher education institute. Number one is academic excellence, and number two, research excellence, and number three, talent recruitment, and four, collaborations. I'm very happy that this 6 days FDP will focus on the second pillar, the research excellence. Now the NEP 2020 attempts to transform higher educational institutes into multidisciplinary institutes. Now, this is a statement. This is actually the slide I'm directly taking from the NEP 2020, the policy document. Now, the policy says that or strives or demands that any HAI should become a multidisciplinary institute. What they mean or what I mean or what they demand is the institute should, number one, a multidisciplinary research intensive university. And number two, multidisciplinary teaching intensive university. And third is a degree of that is not applicable for us. Because now as SRM or for any institute under UGC now, they strive to play these two roles or the two sides of the coin to excel. Number one is a multidisciplinary research intensive institute. And number two, a multidisciplinary teaching intensive institute. So now let me focus on only the first part, the A part, because now this FDP is going to focus on subdivision A now, the first part of this NEP 2020, which is being envisaged to become as a multidisciplinary institute. Just to show, to throw some light or my thought on that, let me show you this slide, the slide which I show for any presentations. The Albert Einstein right now, his IQ score is 160. For any normal human being, it is only between 85 and 115. On this planet, nobody has now, right now, overtook this data. Now the IQ score of Albert is 160. Such a legend or the genius person, he commented the statement what he has given. I have shown here. If we knew what we were doing, it would not be called research. Let me repeat the statement. If I know what I'm doing, it is not called a research. If your students or if you as a guide or a supervisor or a faculty member know what you're doing, it not be called research. Okay, with this basic idea, just let me show just only one or two slides what I wanted to tell you now. This is a slide I have taken from the Right Modern, the book. Now he has given a beautiful, that is, as on date now, this is a very excellent description about the different disciplinarities. Now, the first part, it is a disciplinary. Now you can see there, it is a vertical. Now that white circle, that is actually the goal or the outcome. Now the second, now right. So now the second is multidisciplinary. You can see the difference now between the disciplinary and multidisciplinary. And third part, it is the interdisciplinary. And today, that is the take-home point for you for today's, of course, for the first part of this program, the convergence research. And you know the discipline, you know the research, you know to some extent what is the multidisciplinary research, interdisciplinary research, convergence research. Now, the multidisciplinary research takes place when faculty from different disciplines work independently on a common platform or research question. In this approach, faculty share research goals on the same problem, but look at it from their own discipline's perspective. The findings from each discipline are supplementary to each other. The advantage to multidisciplinary research is that each aspect can be analyzed by a particular specialty, which is often necessary to answer complex research problems. Now, there are times when research needs things to go a step further than multiple disciplines, each looking at a problem through their own lens. That is when interdisciplinary research happens. In other words, rather than working independently with interdisciplinary research, disciplines interact and work collaboratively. Now you can see, now there is a common problem, common goal. Now you can see the difference between the multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary. Like interdisciplinary, convergence research involves integrating disciplines and shifting thought process, but convergence research takes things even further. Convergence research goes beyond integration of disciplines to bring together disciplines that have not historically worked together and add a component of a societal impact. Of course, now this convergence research is similar to the transdisciplinary research. Now, the convergence is a pinnacle of this complete integration of the disciplines. So now the convergence research works across disciplinary boundaries to deep integrate multiple perspectives, expertise, knowledge, methods, tools, and analytical approaches into synthetic high-level frameworks in order to solve complex intellectual questions confronting humanity. Now, this convergence research basically is driven, number one, by a specific and compelling problem. And number two, deeply integrating knowledge, techniques, and expertise from multiple fields. Now, let me just come to my point here. And this is whole summary what I have discussed now. A multidisciplinary research, interdisciplinary research, and the convergence research. I'm very happy that now the convergence research is going to take place in our institutes or in our departments, because now we have started, we have ignited, or we have taken the initiative to fire the building block for this, the multidisciplinary research. Now, this multidisciplinary research is going to be the building block for the interdisciplinary and the convergence research. At its core, the two things are necessary for the convergence research. It must be deeply collaborative, involving a deep integration of disciplines, and it results in a positive societal impact. Transcending disciplinary and organizational boundaries to address vexing social, economic, environmental, and technical challenges to promote collective well-being. With a small distinct differences, it may be very helpful to think that these three different approaches, multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, and convergence research, it may be very useful for the research as a stepping stone that will build upon one another. And multidisciplinary research is a building block for both the interdisciplinary and the convergence research. I'm very happy that this FDP is going to throw some light on this multidisciplinary ideas. To wind up, to sign off my talk, three enabling conditions for
Ma'am,
Ma'am, you're not audible, ma'am.
is it visible now? Whether I am in the meeting now?
yes, sir,
Yes,
yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thanks. Sorry for the technical glitch now. So just I was disconnected now. So three enabling conditions for the multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary or the convergence research. Number one, an inversion of perspectives. What I mean, it's a way to counteract the gravitational pull of confirmation bias. That is, the interdependence that go beyond the mind. That is the very first enabling condition for the multidisciplinary research or the interdisciplinary or the convergence research. An inversion of perspectives. And number two, positive sum game. What do you mean? This is a very non-zero sum formulation in which a loss of one side is not necessarily a gain for the other. That is, the mutual interdependence of opposing tendencies is characterized by an and instead of or relationship. My friends, let me repeat once again. Now, these are three enabling. Number one, as I told, interdependence going beyond the mind. Number two, it is always unrelation, no or relation. And number three, it's a self-organization. That is the outcome arising from local interactions. That is the creativity emerge at a global level. Don't take global level means it's a global, no. So what I mean, it's output, the top, the aim and trying. Now that at the global level as a result of local immersion. Let me repeat once again in simple words, because all our language teachers, in my own blunt words, I can use a simple words. The first enabling condition, number one, is the self-immersion. And number two is unrelation, not or. And third, it is the local immersion. And these are three enabling conditions for the multidisciplinary research. I'm really happy. I thank you very much for giving this opportunity to share something on this agenda for the 6 days FDP. Wish all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your such an enlightening inaugural address. Your insights and vision have set the tone for this FDP, motivating us to embrace multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, and convergence approaches in our research and academic endeavors. Thank you for your time and invaluable contribution, sir. With the conclusion of this insightful inaugural session, we extend our heartfelt gratitude to all the participants for their engagement. As we move forward, it is time to explore the heart of today's theme with our first session. Participants are requested to write down their questions, their doubt clarification in the chat box. To lead this enriching exploration, it is an honor to introduce Dr. Shernaz Cama, a distinguished academic and cultural preservationist. Her exemplary career includes serving as the former head of the Department of English at Lady Shri Ram College, Delhi University, and conducting pivotal research at the British Museum at SOAS, London. Her scholarly contributions in Blake and Zoroastrianism, coupled with her dedication to preserving cultural heritage, reflect her unmatched expertise and passion. Dr. Cama founded and directs the UNESCO Parser project, preserving Parsi Zoroastrian heritage globally. Her groundbreaking efforts led to Zoroastrianism recognition as a masterpiece of the oral and intangible heritage of humanity by UNESCO. She has received prestigious awards, including the World Zoroastrian Community Service Award for her contribution to cultural preservation and social causes. Her dedication to education, cultural heritage, and interfaith dialogue exemplifies leadership and vision. Dr. Kama continues to inspire through her impactful work, advancing humanity's understanding of diverse tradition and fostering global unity. With her unparalleled expertise in cultural preservation and her dedication to safeguarding linguistic and cultural heritage, we are honored to invite Dr. Shernaz Kama to enlighten us with her session on endangered languages, endangered cultures.
Thank you, Poonam. Very
And
kind of you.
so sorry for the delay, ma'am.
No problem at all. I'm delighted to be here, but I think you got the wrong person. Hi, Dr. Kavita. Good morning, all of you. Thank you to the organizers for inviting me. Uh, Actually, my work goes back to ancient futures, and I am going to not speak about all the digital humanities and things. I'm going to speak from the heart because I think ultimately it's identity that we are worried about today. All you young people, and I've been teaching for 41 years, so all of you are very, very young to me. Uh, I think the issue that I have seen is that India at the end of 2024 seems to be facing many postmodern anxieties of identity formation. And I am going to speak about this issue from the point of view of a community which has almost lost its identity because of modernization, globalization, and loss of language. So I'm not going to be talking about PowerPoints and things of that sort. I'm going to make you listen to songs, and I'm going to hopefully get you interested in a very ancient Bronze Age culture. What is the issue in India today? What I see is that very rapid urbanization, warring political ideologies, the loss of linguistic diversity to the monster language English, which we all speak and we all use as a uniting language, and the loss of the regional costumes we once wore. When I was studying in the Nilgiris, the half sari was a ubiquitous thing, and today I don't see any of the young people wearing half saris. So, what is the confusion about our identity? What constitutes Indian food? We don't even seem to know what that is. It should make us all pause and think. Is it only confusion, or is there going to be some fusion? Is there going to be a new identity being fused out of so many older traditions? If so, shouldn't we know about each other's traditions after so many hundreds and years of living together? I would like to add a further subtitle to my talk, Endangered Languages, Endangered Cultures, because I think as a teacher, all our primary aims are social concerns and creative cohesion. This is the aim of all literature. Perhaps this is the aim of all humanities. For centuries, India has absorbed and nourished refugees like us Parsis, and its silent assimilation of the dispossessed from other lands continues even today. We are very proud to be Indians marching steadily forward economically within 75 years of independence. But at the same time, what I find very troubling is a latent insecurity which has emerged, which raises serious concerns about our Indian identity. Across the world, globalization and migration within or outside a country to economically greener pastures leads to a loss of identity. Historically, the Industrial Revolution, colonialism, capitalism, and socialism were followed by a time which we now live in. I call it the consumer world, where the I or the prioritizing of the self has become far more important than us or the community. Traditions that continued for millennia have been cast aside as we quote unquote modernized. We have cast aside languages with our past. When I used to be a young teacher, I would ask everybody in the class, do you speak your mother tongue? And everybody's hands would go up. Today, when I ask people, they look confused. And when I ask, okay, you speak your mother tongue, do you read and write your mother tongue? There's a blank. So I think this is what I'm talking about. That is why we need to re-look at our languages and literature. Please remember, these are the foundations stones of our culture and heritage. Once a foundation stone shakes, cracks appear in the building. Stuart Hall tells us that identity is a construct. But please remember, quote, to forget is to collude in erasure as a community. I speak from personal experience as a Parsi when I state the loss of Parsi Gujarati, it's a colloquial dialect, has led to a loss of our culture. And of course, that is accompanied today, as most of you will know, by demographic loss, which may lead to our extinction in India. What is PG or Parsi Gujarati? It is an oral dialect of a community of refugees from Persia, a linguistic combination of aristocratic Pahlavi or court Persian with the Dubra or tribal and outcast Gujarati spoken by those who tilled the soil and deigned to mingle with us refugees. Let me explain a little bit from history because very few people know who we Parsis are. In the 8th or 9th century Christian era, Zoroastrians had to flee to neighboring India from Persia to escape Arab conquest and save their ancient religion, Zoroastrianism. King Jadav Rana of Sanjan on the west coast of India, when approached by the priestly leader of the Persian refugees, offered a bowl full of milk to signify that his country was full and could not accommodate any more people. The priest or the dastur stirred in a spoonful of sugar into the milk, promising that, like the sugar, we would assimilate and sweeten the land without overcrowding it. Pleased with this wise response, Jadi Rana agreed to give us shelter, but on certain conditions of acculturation. Because we came from Pars in Persia, we came to be known as the Parsis. We now had to wear the Indian sari, the Gujarati style sari, but most importantly, we had to change our mother tongue from Persian to Gujarati. Did we then become Philomena with our tongue cut out? Did we have to unspeak our identity? Loss of language was perhaps the most serious casualty of our acculturation. We became perhaps enslaved by the mother tongue, which was standard Gujarati spoken by the Nagar Brahmins. With the loss of Persian and Avestan, the common Parsi stopped being able to understand their prayers, their songs, and in Iran, please remember the Zoroastrian, there are very few left, just 12,000, but they still understand the meaning of what they pray. We recite by rote. Has this cut us off from our religion and culture? Later, of course, adapting to colonialism and the European colonialism for economic benefit, we became enslaved by English, the new master tongue, moving further away from our roots. Salman Rushdie tells us to cross a frontier is to be transformed. But while Parsis celebrated our multiculturalism and the ability to be dubashis, do bhasha bolne wala, those who could speak two languages, and the east and west of India, link India with the European colonizers, was this always a benefit? First, we could speak Persian, so we became the links between the Gujarat rulers and the Mughal court. With adaptation to English rulers, we carved out a further hybrid identity. But did we lose our sense of belonging? I raise this question because why over 3,000 years did we keep our identity and why have we lost it in the last 150 years? We have refused invisibility despite our tiny numbers. Even less than 50,000 people in India today, in a country of 1.4 billion Indians, we are not invisible. As you've seen at Ratan Tata's funeral, the whole of India gathered together, the whole of India mourned. We may wear a sari, but it'll have Parsi Gara embroidery on its borders, and the palla will reach further down than most other Indian saris. We still wear European blouses, we wear pearl jewelry rather than gold. But most important, the language we adopted was Parsi Gujarati, a hybrid which combined both our homelands, Persia and India. It is only in the 21st century, when Parsi Gujarati has become a dying dialect, that research has started in earnest. This is why I am speaking to this large group of young people from across India, because many of your dialects are reaching that stage. Today, we start looking at what was its creation, what was its peak of productivity, and why has it declined. As I said, the refugees from Iran spoke Pahlavi, the poetic language of the Persian court. They were very different from appearance from the Gujaratis who gave them refuge. They ate meat, they carried weapons, they spoke another tongue. From anthropological and genetic studies, such as like sugar in the milk, reconstructing the genetic history of the Parsi population by researchers from Cambridge and Estonia, it is seen that the first interactions were with the tribal populations of the coastal areas and the newcomers. That is why Parsi Gujarati became a very strange mixture of courtly, high pleasantries and very crude, sometimes explicitly earthy language used in the field. Parsi Gujarati, let me talk about it linguistically, is a predominantly colloquial language that serves as an identity marker of a specific dwindling ethno-religious community of Indian Zoroastrians. It possesses unique morphological, phonological, lexical, and syntactical features that distinguish it from standard Gujarati, which is a written and literary language used in the Indian state of Gujarat. Some scholars see PG, Parsi Gujarati, as a creole rather than a dialect, since its formation came as a result of language shift from Pahlavi to Old Gujarati through transferring and intermingling features of a distinct ethnic group and their language into a new tongue. Why is orality so important? I'd like to emphasize this to all of you, especially today. The oral heritage of a community carries its culture, its songs, its stories, its prayers, its folk tales, its jokes, its recipes, its wisdom. And with its loss, a community loses cohesion and identity. Linguistically, and I am quoting UNESCO's study of endangered languages, language death comes in stages. Speakers become bilingual, gradually shifting allegiance till the traditional language is lost. Attrition occurs, says UNESCO, when intergenerational transmission of the native tongue stops. The breakup of the joint family is a great tragedy for culture and language. Please remember that. An in between step to complete loss is when it is relegated to songs, poetry, and prayers. Language death can, of course, also come when a community becomes demographically extinct. The Parsi Gujaratis of India are facing demographic extinction due to many, many causes, which we will not discuss. But what about our language? This paper looks at the stage when the use of Parsi Gujarati in traditional songs called monajats has become the last link left with the Parsis to PG and their cultural history. There was a study of Gujarati in 1892 by Reverend William St. Clair Tisdale in a book called A Simplified Grammar of the Gujarati Language. He distinguished Parsi Gujarati as a separate language, and I quote, Parsi Gujarati, the language as spoken and written by the Parsis, differs from ordinary Gujarati in that it contains more Persian and Arabic words in considerable numbers. Its grammar is very unfixed and very irregular in condition. Most importantly, of course, PG has been seen as a language that epitomizes a unique Parsi cultural discourse unfamiliar to any standard Gujarati speaker. To quote Bharati Modi, somebody is a Parsi because he or she speaks Parsi Gujarati. This is from her book Vanishing Dialect, Vanishing Culture. From the 1800s, with Europeanization, a new period began. It was a time when moving to a larger cosmopolitan identity in Bombay, where they became trading partners with the British and financial elites, Parsis began rejecting their roots in Gujarat. Their Gujarati brethren were now unreformed because they were non westernized. The Parsis in Bombay wholeheartedly adopted the belief that, quote, we want the English language, English manners, and English behavior for even our wives and daughters. So, in less than 200 years, by the end of the 20th century, the overall decline in Gujarati literacy among a new generation of Parsis turned Parsi Gujarati into a purely conversational language. And sadly, it became primarily a language spoken by elders and not by the young. This predicated that, open quotes, the cultural milieu is lost and the speakers of the language too lose their cultural identity. Language death is thus symptomatic of cultural death. A way of life of the Parsi Zoroastrian community in India has disappeared with the death of a language. Now, I don't want it to be all gloom and doom. Can we turn back the tide? Can we save a culture? And how do we save it? Can we save it through music and through song? The hope belongs to songs and poetry or oral communication and literature. Parsi Gujarati is linked with traditional narratives developed exclusively by the Parsi community in India, the singing of songs and hymns called monajats. The monajats are very often lullabies. They are sacred songs by which children absorb Zoroastrian values and key understanding of their culture and their history from the songs. The Monajat has a long history. The earliest examples are songs to Aura Mazda, who is an unformed, just light and wisdom. He's our God. But there are also songs to Zarathustra. These are poetic compositions, the simplest form of transmission of a culture to its own people. Learned during childhood, very, very important. Children picked up monajats as a fun-filled part of the day. It helped transplant core values into a child's inner consciousness. Important Avastan words, concepts from the Gathas of Zarathustra, his only writings which we know, his only poems that we know, were included very simply. Yet, as David Crystal says on oral performance, quote, its knowledge content can be enormous. As in the case of all epic and bardic traditions, we know very little about the creators or origins of the Parsi Gujarati Monajat. Some are found in manuscripts in the Mejirana Library in Navsari, but their dates and authors are omitted. The Monajats which survive today are those which were sung regularly, since written texts do not contain the music. Learnt in childhood, when children hear monajats, it is the oral equivalent of cultural transmission even before a child has learned to read. There is no teacher, no priestly guide. It is a family centered transmission, a very informal system which children absorb almost by osmosis. Above all, it was an experience which bonded families together in music. I cannot try to emphasize this more than I can. It's really important to keep your music alive as a family. At home, we as children first absorb the tune and then the words. Slowly, the essence of the meaning and its ethics would enter through these sessions in childhood. I'm going to say a prayer in Avastan, which is a language known only to priests and to scholars. It is a mantra which every child learns. It's called the Ashem Vahu prayer, and it is in a language which you will not understand unless you know Rigvedic Sanskrit and can make a link. Ashem Vahu, Vahistam Asti, Ushta Usti, Ushtamai, Yatashai Vahishtai Ashem. It's very simple. It means truth is the highest good. Happiness comes to those who work with truth for the happiness of others. The Gujarati Monajat, Poonam, will you please play it, says this much more simply. Please listen. Go ahead.
અસીમ છે અશોઈ ભલાઈનું નામ છે સર્વેથી ઉત્તમ ને સુખનો પેગામ ખરું સુખ આ જગમાં તે પામે તમામ અશોઈને ખાતર અશો જે નકામ અસીમ છે અશોઈ ભલાઈનું નામ છે સર્વેથી ઉત્તમ ને સુખનો પેગામ ખરું સુખ આ જગમાં તે પામે તમામ
Thank you, Poonam. The concept of Asha is from the Avastan. Truth is from Gujarati. Sukh is happiness, a common Gujarati and Hindi word, as is the word calm or work. This Monajat tells a child about three cardinal Zoroastrian principles: Asha or truth, with which you do your calm or your work, and the wisdom that comes when we work with truth. The next Monajat is a personal favorite. As children, we sang it as a final song in the evening. Sharu Thai Cherat. Not very accurate to play it in the morning, but it's my favorite, so I'm playing it. And even the birds, we used to sing on the veranda, the old days when you had big family verandas and grandparents and aunts and uncles. Even the birds in the chiku trees of our compound seemed to stop their crazy chatter and settle down with this hymn. It is a blessing which is sung as a lullaby to children, but despite its soothing quality, it still reminds a child, even as he goes to sleep, of the core three beliefs of Zoroastrianism: Manashni, Gavashni, Gunashni, good thoughts, good words, good deeds, which prove and give us the path to enlightenment. The child sleeps with the promise that God will keep him safe all night and awaken him to perform bhala kam, good deeds in the new day. Can I have Khudavind the Khavind, please? You will note the words from Persian and Gujarati. Thank you, Poonam. I hope you enjoyed the song. Basically, it is, as I said, it contains a lot of Persian as well as Parsi Gujarati words. Great Lord, I bow at my household fire as night falls. Help me to achieve wisdom with obedience. Help me to correct my mistakes and increase my good deeds. Keep me on the path of wisdom, the path of good thoughts, good words, good deeds. Keep me safe in your care all night and awaken me to perform good deeds in the morning. Ours is a religion of action. For us, good deeds are the most important. Let me come back to my paper. Today it is shown by UNESCO that every 14 days a language becomes extinct. 3,000 of the world's 6 to 7,000 languages are liable to be lost before the end of the century. Yet, and that's why I agreed to speak to you all today, language preservation is nowhere at the top of the linguistic agenda in India. There is a complacency, even indifference to this issue. Language death has occurred throughout history, but at present there's a dramatic upsurge in loss because of rapid globalization and the economic importance of changing to the dominant language, now English. There is, however, through the rapid loss of Parsi Gujarati, a realization, at least in our tiny community, of the importance of this language and the need for a community to safeguard its linguistic heritage. Parsi Gujarati, if not recorded, will be lost in the next generation. And given the critical demographic situation in the community, there is a rapid pace of immigration outside the PG language boundaries area, and there's a quick language shift among young Parsis. This stage of loss has also been linked with the assimilation of not just Parsis but all Indians into a global identity and the loss of their Gujarat related traditional base. Scholars have therefore called for an urgent documentation of PG as a separate language, stating that virtually nothing has been written on the subject and its huge difference from standard Gujarati has been unrecognized. When the Parsi Zoroastrian community in India in the last census of 2011 was estimated at just 57,264 people, and only older members converse in PG, the need for recording becomes very essential for social historians, anthropologists who are here today, and linguists. This paper, therefore, has been read to you all with to wish to draw attention to the importance of primarily oral language and the need to safeguard oral linguistic heritage. It has drawn upon David Crystal's book Language Death to urge linguists to pay urgent attention to PG and its impending loss. Crystal tells us how highly we value little linguistic scraps of personal documentation, a grandparent's diary, lines at the back of a photograph. These provide us with our ancestry. We take pride in their preservation because they provide us identity. We need identity today. Our children need identity today. The Monajat can hopefully preserve Zoroastrian religion and culture as well as language. When a native language is lost, it cannot be replaced, and there is a diminishing of both the world's diversity and knowledge. I want to remind us all that India is not a melting pot but a tapestry woven of many colors. The Parsis are one tiny thread, but they are a distinct thread in this glorious weave. And please remember, each thread is integral to maintain the unity of a fabric, and each thread carries a language. It is hoped that the world's realization and your realization this morning about the apparent loss of PG will encourage other communities to preserve their vernacular traditions and act fast. Each part of India needs to start documenting its oral traditions before it is too late. Thank you so much for your time and your patience. I would be happy to take questions if there is time and if people are interested.
Thank you so much for that session, ma'am. I could totally correlate with you, having done research on Bapsi Sidhwa's select novels. Whatever you said, it takes back to the history. And even speaking from my personal experience, my son can hardly read or write Hindi, but he is fluent in English. So that is the common problem which we all are facing. Thank
I
you so
know.
much, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. Please, any questions, anything anybody would like to ask about oral recording? I'd be happy to share if there is time.
The mic has been enabled for all the participants. If there are any questions or doubt clarification or even appreciation.
We've all become Philomena and lost our tongue. Okay, Dr. Srimati has raised her hand. Please go ahead, Srimati. I'd love to talk to you. Uh, please speak. Hi. Can't hear you.
Srimati ma'am, please unmute yourself.
Srimati, please speak. There's another question, I think. But Srimati, please go ahead or type your question. Okay, thank you. We can't hear you. Can you
Sir
hear her?
Nandupata, sir, unmute your mic and speak, sir.
We can't hear. We can't hear. Have you enabled the mics?
Yes, ma'am, the mic has been enabled.
Okay, please try. Go ahead. There's another hand up, Priya.
Not audible.
Okay, now I can hear.
Namaskar, am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
you're
ma'am.
audible.
Ma'am, it was a wonderful experience listening to you. And I was taken back to my school days when I had Parsi friends. And it was in 1972. We were living in the same house as another Parsi family was. And their son, if you ask them, what does Priya say? He would say, Mamu Venda School Ponda. That is in Malayalam, which means I don't want food, I don't want to go to school. And if if they ask me what does he say, actually I'm not able to recall his name. But so yeah, I would say Twanje Nale Chai. Uh, Actually, now I don't know what it means, but I still remember that line. And this cultural hybridity was there once upon a time, and now we have moved far away from accepting even our own family. We have moved into a nuclear setup where we cannot live together with a single family, leave alone living together with many families. So it was a very heartening experience, ma'am, and the songs were very beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Please, Nandu, go ahead. Mr. Matta.
Yes. Hello, ma'am. Are you able to hear me now?
I can
Yes,
hear
sir.
you now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the wonderful presentation. In fact, it made me question myself because I am a Sindhi and I only know to speak. I rather do not know how to read the language. And again, if you read back again, it's a part of whatever Parsis did, and that's how it came. And I was also thinking about the rituals and the cultural things that I would know not much. Whatever a little of what is being passed on to my mom, that's precisely what we've been following. So it definitely tells me a lot of things as to what is it that I really have to do. And it made me think if I chose the right topic for my research, because I thought I should focus on ELT. No, I was just thinking if I should have done something with regard to my language and seen, how it could really transpire with regard to my research or with regard to the cultural identity. Wonderful presentation, and the song that you've chosen, I think it was really soothing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I hope I can convince you to change from ELT to a Sindhi dialect. You have some fabulous stories in Sindhi, by the way. And UNESCO encourages each community to preserve its own heritage. And as a representative of UNESCO, may I urge everybody over here to go back home, ask your parents while they are alive and learn from them, and get an intergenerational transmission, because your kids won't listen to you, they listen to your parents, they listen to nani and dadi. So do that, because otherwise you suddenly wake up one morning and say that, what am I going to say? Little Jack Horner sat in a corner to my baby. No, you don't want to do that. When you talk to your children, you want to speak, when especially lullabies, you want to sing in your native tongue. So I am urging you, though I've been a teacher of English all my life, I'm urging you that the wealth we have in our vernaculars and in our oral dialects and the jokes we have, everything, we lose everything if we don't act now. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Nandu.
so much,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Wonderful.
Thank you. There are two other hands up. May I take the questions? And then if it's getting short, then you just throw me out. No problem.
Ma'am, it's absolutely okay. It's an honor and privilege to hear you. Shantanu,
There-
sir, if you may.
Yeah, there's a Mr. G, somebody. Yeah. Please unmute and speak. Hi. Go ahead.
Michael, sir.
Yeah.
Michael, sir, are you speaking, sir? No, it's not audible.
Clean up is where are you பேசுறாங்க I think someone
Yeah.
else is
You're audible.
yeah,
You're audible.
yeah. Ma'am, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, it's interesting. We all liked your presentation. It's we enjoyed a lot through the music and the words that you used. Congratulations, ma'am. Ma'am, I have a doubt. This Stuart Hall talks about that identity, particularly that identity that must be understood through various lenses. But here, connecting that, you mentioned that the Parsi community people. We understand that the Parsi community people in Gujarat very less in numbers, and they are very less in numbers. And why do they want to have the English language and English behavior, and also English lifestyles? Because they are part of Indian life system. And don't you think that it is wrong and unethical if they expect to have that another country's lifestyles?
See, you cannot judge anybody as ethical or non-ethical. Everybody has a choice. Over here, the whole movement away traditionally was to adapt. Okay, if you're a refugee, you have to adapt to where you are. The first point of adaptation is language. Sorry, I've got a terrible cold. The adaptation to language in Gujarat was to adapt to the Gujarat rulers, because when you come as refugees, you jolly well accept what you are told to do. But once you become economically slightly independent, as I mentioned, they became Dubashis speaking two languages. So for economic benefit, they were refugees, they were tillers in the soil. They didn't have anything. They had to make a new life. Just as we, when we go to America, we acquire American accents, uh, we all adapt if we want to survive. So they knew Persian and they moved to the Persian Mughal court, where they became important people. And that's when the Indians came to know about the Parsis. Secondly, when the colonizers came, because they had no caste rules, which kept them away from eating or mingling with the Westerners, they began speaking Dutch, they began speaking French, they began speaking the master language, which was English. And then when the British took over Bombay, as a state when it was presented to them with as a dowry of Catherine Braganza, they invited the Parsis who were already working with them to move to Bombay. With that, a huge change came, and Parsis migrated. You're right, there are very few Parsis left in Gujarat. The majority of the community is urban and it lives in Bombay. Now, if you are living in Bombay for 200 years, your links with Gujarat and Parsi Gujarati diminish. If you're living in Delhi, as I have been for the last 30, 40 years, our children don't speak Gujarati at all. They've been brought up with English and Hindi. So the problem is, and then when you move abroad, you lose your Hindi. So you lose whatever connection. So it's all a matter of adaptation and assimilation. What I am trying to tell you today is that adapt. But the problem, it's a dichotomy. How do you adapt without assimilation? And this is the question I want to raise today to all of you, because all of us want to go up that ladder, want to reach the heights. Then what happens to our ancient traditions? That is where I want us to try and work out a balance. We keep moving forward, but we don't throw away what we have, because without roots, you cannot have wings. I think that is very important. That's what I'm trying to convey.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
You're,
It's very
you're
clear.
welcome. You're
Thank you,
welcome.
ma'am. Thank you.
I'll take one last question and then I'll leave you to it. There's one hand up. I can't make out who it is.
Pooja, Pooja.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Ma'am, this is Arul. And
Hi.
that was a very good presentation. And basically, I work on these endangered languages, and especially with the South Dravidian languages. It's almost like a decade I've been working on it. When it comes to language and identity, that is the biggest crisis that is happening in these indigenous languages.
Yes.
And especially in our university, what we are trying to do is we try to capture those languages. It's not only mere capturing those languages, we try to digitize it.
Yes.
And in the modern days, like even when you enter into these tribal communities, you find, like even the least among them has these smartphones. So
Yes.
what we did is like, we digitize those content, especially when it comes, you talked about the folklore and all those things. And we digitize all those things in a way that we try to revive those languages. That is one of the pioneering projects that we are doing in our university. And successfully, we were able to develop one application for this one community called Irula community.
Yes.
And it is being like successfully going on. And we are just enhancing the tools as well as getting the data. Current another project we are just going to start, where we're going to collect the terminologies of medical terminologies as well as the agricultural terminologies. That is the upcoming project that we're going to start. And since you said more about the identity loss, yeah, that's happening. Like there's a huge loss that has been happening due to a lot of migrations. And the examples that I've given, like that was really good. That was very apt. And anyway, ma'am, that's thank you so much for giving my opportunity to share my thoughts.
Thank you. If you are recording medical identities, because I've lived in the South and I've for many years, and I know the Nilgiris very well. Please try and digitize and understand the Kurumba language, because they were the medicine men of the East of the Nilgiris, and the Todas and the Kurumbas, they have great medical knowledge. And you all know, I hope you all know, that we have a complete committee called the Intangible Cultural Heritage of Humanity in India, which is run by the Sangeet Natak Academy, where we work together with UNESCO. So please do reach out to ICH Delhi and for funding, and do try and digitize. And I'm congratulations for what you're doing. I know the Irula tribe, but do try and also record the Kurumbas as well as the Todas. They are very,
Sure,
very important. Okay,
sure.
thank you so
Yeah.
much. I've taken up a lot of your time. If there are no more questions, then I'll say bye and all the best for your deliberations. And anybody who wants to reach out to me, please take my number or my email from Dr. Poonam. It's been a pleasure to be here, and I'm so happy that so many of you have been interested. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much,
ma'am.
ma'am. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for your enlightening session on endangered languages and endangered cultures. Your profound insight and passion for cultural preservation have really inspired all of us today to, reflect deeply on the importance of safeguarding linguistic and cultural heritage. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Start singing songs to your
Sure,
children, all of you.
sure.
Okay, bye. God bless.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much, ma'am.
Thank
With this, we conclude the insightful first session of our faculty development program. The feedback is posted in the chat box. We thank everyone for their active participation and engagement. Please take a break, and we look forward to seeing you again at 2 p.m. for the second session, where we will continue this enriching journey of exploration and learning. Thank you.